everyone, it's Lori, and I'm here with Eva and Charlotte today, and we are going to do a book discussion on the book The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. That was a lot of books.
Yes.
So, Eva read this book about a month ago?
Maybe. I started reading it a long time ago and didn't finish it, so when I picked it back up again, I just started where I left off.
And then after she read it, she told Charlotte she needed to read it. Is that how that happened?
Yes.
And then after Charlotte finished reading it, she told me I needed to read it. And I think their dad already read it before anybody. Is that correct?
So.
But it was a long time ago, but he doesn't remember a whole lot. So, The Book Thief is complicated to put in a box. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I think it actually is basically a children's novel, like a junior fiction. But I've seen it classified as YA, and I think it's also a very enjoyable book for adults. So I think it's one that is good for a variety of ages. Probably not a lot younger than these girls, if only due to the amount of language in the book.
Yeah, there's a lot of German cursing.
Yes, if we were any good at pronouncing German, we'd be able to swear in German really well now. So, we're just going to get started and kind of talk about our thoughts on The Book Thief. So, first of all, how did everybody rate it?
I think I gave it 4 stars, maybe 5. I don't
4 or
remember
5?
for sure.
I definitely give it 5 stars, but I'm the highest rating person in this room, so, you know.
And I gave it 4 stars. And I gave it 4 stars because although I thought it was a really good book, I don't know if I'd put it in great book or life-changing for me personally. When I rate, I rate it based on my own personal enjoyment, so sometimes that means that my rating might be lower on something that I'm not the target audience for, and that's okay. So, what should we start with? What do you think? Characters, story? This is going to have spoilers because it's a book discussion. So if you have not read The Book Thief and you want to read it before you watch this, please turn off the video now.
I think we should start with characters, especially the narrator.
Okay, we'll start with the narrator. So, what did you guys think of the narrator?
I liked the narrator. It was kind of fun figuring out that he's deaf.
I think it comes up pretty quickly that
Yeah.
the narrator basically tells you that he's deaf. Did you like Death, the narrator?
Yes.
What about you, Eva?
The first time I started reading it, I thought it was cool, but I didn't really love it that much, just because it made me kind of antsy, but I really liked it later on, like once I got a little less panicky about everything. I liked having him as a narrator because it was really interesting, and I liked how he was so obsessed with colors. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I was with you there. One of the first things that kind of struck me about Death as the narrator is that he's always talking about what the colors were like at the time that somebody died. So, I did appreciate that part. And Death was an interesting narrator. He jumped around a lot, so that made it kind of an unusual storyline because it wasn't very linear. You'd go back and forth from different time periods sometimes. Okay, how about Liesel?
She was funny. She was just... I wasn't expecting her to be a thief very much.
Like, how much of a thief was she, though?
She would be the thief that I would be.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't steal that much because the person she stole from primarily basically started leaving her cookies. So I don't know if that really counts as theft.
And to begin with, like when she stole the Gravedigger's Handbook, I honestly am not sure. I think she was in enough like mental turmoil that she just wanted something to hold on to. So I don't know if that first one really counted
and
as
it's
stealing.
not really stealing because she found it in the snow, very deep in the snow.
So I mean, but she did do some stealing. She
Yes,
stole
later.
apples and potatoes and things with the little gang of kids. So it's not like there was no stealing, but she wasn't like this deeply hardened criminal or anything.
I would say unlike Charlotte, I do not think she was funny necessarily. I think she was kind of a rather sad character.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I loved her, but her whole story was sad, and then she herself wasn't very lively necessarily, it didn't seem like.
I was talking about the combination of her and
Rudy.
Rudy. Yes.
Well, Rudy was funny.
Yeah, Rudy was just flat. Yeah, Liesel.
I don't know.
German names.
I would go with Liesel because it
Liesel.
sounds less funny than Liesel.
Okay, so Liesel. Was a hard character for me in a lot of ways because she had such a tragic story. And obviously she was the focus of the novel, but all of the tragedies just compound on her. And probably the reason I gave the book 4 stars instead of 5 stars was I was not satisfied with the ending. I wanted to know more about what happened to her after the events towards the end of the book. But it basically jumped from, the time period where she
Was a little kid.
yeah, where she was just a teenager, and all alone. She met back up with Max, but we'll get to Max in a minute. And then all of a sudden it's like, and then death greeted her when she was like 85 years old or something, and she was living in Sydney, and I wanted more. I want to know her adult life too.
I don't think the ending was really supposed to be satisfying.
Personally, I loved the ending. Like, I don't think if they had gone all into her life story, I would have been like, I don't know if I would have liked it as much.
I guess I want a second book for me. So, Markus, Zusak, you can go ahead and write the story of Liesel's adult life, just for me.
It's just like, if I knew, right now I'm like, okay, I'm really glad she finally married, but if I knew more about the guy, I might not like him so much because I'd be so mad about Rudy.
Yeah.
So at least I was just like, I didn't really know anything about anything.
Okay, so moving on to other characters. Let's move on to Liesel's foster parents, Hans and Rosa.
Rosa, in many ways, reminded me of someone here that I
Yeah.
won't mention.
I have some commonalities with Rosa, but my propensity to call people some sort of rude
Schwein.
pig, schwein, what was it?
I can't remember, which is probably a good thing.
Saumensch.
Yeah, something
maybe.
like that.
Was it.
Saumensch. Yeah, I don't call people that, but I did kind of feel a kinship with Rosa. And he was here saying, I don't want to say anything.
Well, for a while, on Rosa at least, I always kind of dislike it when other characters don't like a character that I'm like, well, they're nice too. So for a while when it was like Hans got all the attention because he was actually the one being nice to Liesel. I felt kind of bad for Rosa, but she got more attention later, so I don't really care. But I liked her character. She was funny, but she wasn't like my favorite character.
Well, the thing about her is that she appears to be so hard and stern, but then, she's just as guilty of hiding a Jew in the basement as Hans is, and is she crafty? Like when she went to tell Liesel that Max had woken up, and she smacked her around because she'd lost the hairbrush, because it would be totally believable for her to come in and scream at a kid about a missing hairbrush. So she seems to know her own temperament, but she does seem to grow also during the story because the neighbor lady who always spit on her door towards the end, they seem to kind of start to get along a little bit better. There's less spitting on each other's doors.
The thing about Rosa that I didn't like as much is that it's always the mothers who aren't as liked as the fathers. Like, in
Real
fairy
life.
tales,
I mean, they like Dad a lot better than Mom.
all the stepmothers are evil, and all the moms die.
I think some of it has to do with the fact that girls in particular tend to have more of a friendly relationship with fathers, and sometimes less so with mothers. I speak from personal experience on both sides of that. So, and there is the whole mama's boy thing, and that's totally the truth too, because we've seen that in action too. So.
Oh, yeah.
Our cousins.
Most certainly.
So, anyway, how about Hans?
I liked him a lot. I really wasn't expecting him to be a sad character at first, because he's just cheerful and kind and...
Yeah, I didn't really expect all the backstory that he had, but I thought he was a very good character too, and he reminded me of my dad also.
Except with more painting talent.
And also, more... What was the instrument?
Accordion
playing.
Yes. There's no accordion playing in our house until one of these girls decides she desperately needs to learn the accordion because of this book, which may happen.
We get it from you.
Did you know that your great-grandma Eva played accordion? She had an accordion. I tried playing it once. It did not go well. So, okay. Rudy. Poor Rudy.
He didn't deserve what he got.
No, he didn't. He shows up in such a funny way because he's just this random kid on the block from like this big family next door who covered himself in coal and ran around the track pretending to be Jesse Owens. So...
And the way that Liesl met him is he threw a snowball in her face, and that made them best friends.
Yes. Rudy got kind of complicated after his dad was sent to war. I found the whole toolbox with the teddy bear thing rather interesting. So he had a toolbox full of things he was going to go break into the wealthy houses and steal whatever because he was just angry. And he brought along a teddy bear. Do you remember why he brought along the teddy bear?
To distract children who came upon the scene of the crime.
He was all prepared for little kids to find him. I don't know what he would have done if an adult had found him, but...
Thrown the teddy bear at them?
He had a teddy bear to distract the little kids. And then, in the end, he ended up cleaning out the tools, and it became kind of the kit of things they took back and forth to the bomb shelter, the air raid shelter, for his family. And then I really liked the touch at kind of the end. They came out of the air raid shelter and there was a plane, and the pilot was still alive. So Rudy climbed in and gave him the teddy bear, and that one was kind of like a tearjerker moment there.
I really loved Rudy because he was so funny, and then he was also really kind too, as evidenced by that. And then I hate to do this because it makes me sound so immature, but I totally shipped Rudy and Lizzo. Liesl. Yeah. But I was so sad when he died, but when she kissed him, it was just like, okay.
Because he was always begging for
Yeah.
her to kiss him.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the narrator, Death, like, foreshadowed it, like, when he said that, I was, like, dreading reading that for the rest of the book.
Yeah, because he comes out, like, in the first part out of 10 or something, is like, Rudy didn't deserve to die the way he died.
And I was just like, why? But
that was kind of cruel, but effective.
yes, very effective.
Okay, so I guess the other major character we haven't covered so far is Max.
Yes. Max is a Jewish young man who, he's part of the backstory of
Hans, yeah,
Yes.
because Hans, when he was in the First War, basically didn't die because Max's father told the sergeant or whoever that he had good handwriting, So he went and wrote letters, and the rest of his group died that day. Like every single person that he had been with had died. So Max's dad had taught him how to play the accordion, and he had that accordion for the rest of the war and further on. So eventually he found the widow, and when he was telling her, what had happened and trying to give back the accordion, Max came in. He was just like a little kid at that point. So what was Hans's offer?
He'd help them when they needed him, so he gave them his address. And later on, Max did need help, so they sent him to go to Hans' house because he was trying to hide from the Nazis. Wait.
I think the Nazis arrived while the family was having dinner. So Max's mom, basically pushed him out the window with the address.
Mm-hmm. And then Max is hid by a friend for a little while, and the friend gets in touch with Hans. And Hans had applied to be a member of the Nazi Party because basically, kind of had to be, and his application was pending approval forever, so he could say, well, I tried, they're still pending approval. And he ended up going in and asking about it, and he had the idea of buying a copy of Mein Kampf. And then he sent that copy of Mein Kampf to Max. So while Max is taking a train to get to Hans's house, he has this copy of this book that he's reading. So that one was kind of interesting.
It basically saved his life.
And then what happened to the Mein Kampf book, Eva?
It got painted on and drawn all over. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I especially liked the parts where they put it into the book and you could still see the writing underneath. It was like actually having it in your hands, so
yeah,
that was really cool.
You could kind of see some of the text through, but so yeah, Max painted the pages and made little books
for Liesel because he wanted to repay her for a gift she gave him, and the gift was a hug.
I personally didn't think I'd like Max that when he first came in, because fist fighter, I was like, he doesn't seem to have much character, honestly, to me. But later on, I really loved him, so I was glad that he survived and that he and Lizelle met again, or Liesel met again.
Okay, so that's pretty much all the characters. What did you guys think of the setting?
Like all of the books that are set in World War II in Germany, it was depressing.
Well, they lived on a street called Himmel Street, and Himmel is apparently German for heaven. But it was like the poorest street in their little town. So.
I really loved the setting because I love reading about World War II. I don't know, I'm just a nerd about that. But I also really loved that it was set in Germany because so many things focus on Allied forces. Because, we won and we weren't doing such horrible things, at least.
And history is written by the winners.
Yeah.
I particularly appreciated that this book took a look at average Germans, some of who really loved Hitler and were like crazy, like the shop owner where you had to heil Hitler before she would serve you at all. And some of them, would do what Hans did and give a piece of bread to a Jew going through town and then have terrible things happen in their life because of their decision to help somebody. So I thought it was kind of nice to see kind of a broad spectrum of people and their different reactions to what was going on in their country.
And how they were all, portrayed as humans. None of them were... the shopkeeper was just kind of crazy in her own right, so she might have been portrayed kind of funny, but I liked how
I think she was still believable,
Yeah,
though.
she was still
Yes.
believable, and it wasn't like she was a monster. It was just
She was way pro-Hitler.
yeah.
And I'm sure there were people that were way pro-Hitler, because there had to be, because
Yeah.
how else would Hitler get into power? But there were also a lot of people that weren't. So let's do some favorite moments. And you don't have to pick one, because I know that would be hard.
Thank you.
But what are a couple of your favorite moments from The Book Thief?
Rudy's death. That sounds horrible, but it's just so sad. So tragic, and it was just the best part of the book.
Want something other than Rudy's death?
Well, also Rudy's death, but also the pilot scene, that was very sad and good. I also liked, well, this isn't really a scene, but I liked the mayor's wife.
Yeah.
So she was a little bit crazy herself, but crazy from grief because she had lost a kid in the previous war. And nobody was really totally sure what had happened either. It didn't sound like. I really liked Hans's whole backstory. I like learning it. Well, actually, his whole story. Hans may have been my favorite character. But like the story of his miraculous survival during World War I, and how Death tells us very early on that he's going to have another miraculous survival in World War II, since Death is telling the story from a way different perspective, in a very non-linear sort of way. But his survival in World War II, when he was sent into the army, his application to the Nazis was accepted after he helped a Jew on the street, and Max had to leave because they were so afraid that the Nazis were now going to come to their house, basically looking for exactly what was hiding in their basement. And he gets put in this terrible cleanup duty where he's like dealing with dead bodies and trying to prop up buildings and so forth. But he annoys one of the other men in his group
Because he's good at
because
cards.
he's good at cards. So, and he would always share the cigarettes he won anyway, but this other guy didn't like it, and so he insisted on taking Hans's seat in the vehicle one day, and he was the only one who died in this car accident, and Hans just had a broken leg and got to be transferred back closer to home to do paperwork. So,
He survived because he was good at cards.
yeah, the first time he survived because he had terrible handwriting, but his friend said that he had immaculate handwriting. And then the second time it was because he was good at cards and ticked off this other guy who insisted on taking his seat. So I did appreciate that. I liked kind of the whole Hans story. And then just how talented he was. Like, he knew how to mix paints, and he'd paint blinds for people for free or really random stuff. Some champagne, whatever they had.
I really liked the scene where, like, I wasn't happy about it, but I did like the scene where Liesel yelled at the mayor's wife, because, like, it was very sad, but I loved how her brother, like, the ghost of her brother was behind her, and she pushed him off the step.
My other favorite scenes are basically when they're in the bomb shelter, and Liesel calms people by reading from one of her stolen books.
Yeah, I did like the reading in the bomb shelter a lot.
And then I liked the ending, too.
The part that Mom hates.
What do you liked the ending? Because at the ending, so basically almost everybody dies
Yeah.
on Himmel Street, except for Liesel, because she's sitting in the basement writing her story.
Like, not that ending. That ending was sad.
Okay, I just, so there's that ending, and then basically it's just Liesel, and she's taken in by the mayor and his wife, and then Rudy's dad eventually comes back from war, and he's the only one left in his family, so they kind of bond over that, and then Max comes. Is that the ending? Or you mean like the very, very ending where death comes for her?
I like that ending too, but the very, very ending where death comes for her is the part.
I liked that both with Hans and Liesel, Death said they were sitting up and waiting for me, basically. You know,
Yeah.
they were ready to go.
And this was the part that I meant by that. I just remembered. I loved when Death gave her book back.
Yep. Since Death became the new book thief of the book thief. Okay, well, we've gone on for a while now. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this book? Like, if you could recommend this, how would you would you recommend it?
Yes.
Who would you recommend it to?
But to older, more mature people, just because there are some things, like most of the story I think is amazing, but there are some little parts that are slightly inappropriate that I don't think.
Yeah.
So, give me an age range. You would say what?
High school and up, probably,
Yeah,
depending.
Depending on the maturity of the people.
Yeah.
Because I'm only 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really age necessarily, it's more what you can handle.
So, but you would definitely say probably not for elementary school, in
No.
your opinions. Okay. I think that's fair. I think as a parent, I would probably not recommend this until somebody was middle school, junior high age. And then that would depend on maturity and their sensitivity to things like violence. Because if somebody's very sensitive to violence, this one's going to be a hard book for them. Any final thoughts?
No.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed our first book discussion. If you have thoughts to add, your favorite moments, favorite characters, something we didn't discuss that you have some opinions on, feel free to leave that in the comment section below.
Or if you absolutely hated this book, tell us why.
If you hated this book, we'd love to hear why. So thank you everybody for watching. Feel free to subscribe. I think we're probably going to do some more book discussions sometime soon. I am thinking maybe next we should do Skyward.
Yes.
Just because.
On a happier note.
On a happier
Yes.
note, we should. Well, okay, I don't know that.
Okay, it's
Skyward
not
is
necessarily
that
happier,
much
but
happier.
at least it didn't
Purpose
happen
to-
in real life. Like, at least it wasn't based on something that happened in real life.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, maybe in a couple weeks we'll do a book discussion on Skyward. So until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.